It takes a lot of Navy battle gear, a lot of weapons, and a lot of planning to be prepared for any enemy. New weapons and a new kind of Navy planning were used against one enemy in World War II, a vicious enemy, an enemy that has caused more casualties than all the shot and all the shell in all the wars yet fought. That enemy was disease, epidemic disease. To meet the attacks of epidemics, the Navy for the first time organized highly specialized task forces. They were called epidemiology units, and more than 100 fanned out to the far corners of the globe to fight pestilence on its own ground. From the murderous cold of the Arctic to the treacherous disease-ridden jungles of the South Pacific, these medical troubleshooters fought epidemic disease to a standstill. At that time, a typical epidemiology unit was made up of 2 medical officers and 4 hospital corpsmen, but the size and composition of the unit is determined by the job in hand. Members of these units are medical jack-of-all-trades, experts in fields such as bacteriology, parasitology, entomology, virology, mammalogy, and biometry. The job of the epidemiologist is to organize warfare against the spread of disease, because men who answer sick call can't take their battle stations. Weapons carried into battle by the epidemiologist aren't the standard weapons of Navy issue. The steam shovel, for example, never fires a shell at the enemy, but it's a mass killer of malaria-carrying mosquitoes when it's used right. And the autoclave never sank a ship, but it can be used to mow down the louse that causes typhus. And not even a boot would call the microscope a lethal weapon, but when it's used right, it spots enemies as well as radar. The weapons available to the epidemiologist are limited only by his imagination, for he welcomes any tool to help prevent the spread of disease. Many epidemiological weapons were used in the past war in the campaign against malaria, the disease that originally caused 8 times more casualties than the Japs. This mosquito-borne enemy deployed his pathogenic forces in every available mud and water hole. So, under the direction of epidemiology units, bulldozers grunted, steam shovels wheezed, and Bangalore torpedoes exploded all over the South Pacific in a concerted drive to drain swamps, to replace stagnant water with fresh, and even to level the water-catching ruts in roads. More of the weapons of epidemiology were used in the regular inspection of water for the presence of anopheline wigglers. Periodic spraying with oil to kill the wigglers was geared to their 6 to 10 day life cycle. This spraying included the natives' rainwater barrels and all other water surfaces in both native and military areas where drainage was impossible. And a rigorous campaign under the guidance of epidemiology units eliminated pools of water where the anophelines might breed. Such pools were also attractive to the Culex fatigans, the vector of filariasis, which causes swollen limbs, and the Aedes aegypti, the vector of dengue, the fever which too often makes strong men long for death and frequently seek it in violent suicide attempts. Screening was used in every possible instance, and bed nets were an absolute must to protect men not only from anophelines, but also from other disease-carrying insects. Frequent and general use of DDT finished off the bugs that otherwise escaped the bacteriologic cordon drawn around military encampments all over the world. Adabrin pills were placed at the end of every chow line, both behind the lines and up front. And as a protection against dysentery, combat messes were served from sanitary containers into mess kits previously doused in boiling water. The natives were also dosed with Adabrin, with occasional reluctance, so their disease would not be passed along to military personnel. Epidemiology proved itself a potent weapon of war in the South Pacific. On the opposite side of the world, in the grim shadow of Vesuvius, other Navy epidemiology units were using other weapons in battle with the deadly typhus, that louse-borne disease which has killed more than 350 million people. Our men were highly susceptible to typhus, although the native populations had developed a high degree of natural immunity. In Naples, diplomatic liaison made possible a highly organized program of mass delousing and immunization of the civilian population with DDT. The Navy's epidemiology units also used DDT against the equally serious outbreaks of relapsing fever. Elsewhere in the world, in India, another Navy epidemiology unit was marshaling its scientific weapons for a bout with cholera. Research weapons of epidemiological warfare got a thorough workout, for the course of the war called for military operations in India, and it was imperative that cholera be conquered. So, once again, Navy epidemiology went to work. The strategy of this enteric enemy was unraveled, and for the first time in medical history, blood plasma was used to fight cholera with complete success in every properly treated case. In the contaminated waters of the Near East, the Navy waged medical warfare against schistosomiasis. Often in only 10 seconds contact, healthy men were infected. Inasmuch as the snail is the intermediate host of schistosomiasis, the Navy epidemiologist had to use 3 weapons. He had to stimulate and organize efforts to clean up snail-bearing waters and, where possible, kill the snails with copper sulfate. He had to warn military personnel of the death lurking in fresh water, and he had to work on schistosomiasis therapy. And so, Navy epidemiology, in cooperation with others, cut the cure for schistosomiasis from 21 days to only 2. The weapons of epidemiology were part of the gear when we stormed the beaches of every enemy shore, always there to protect our men. But every day is D-Day for Navy epidemiology. As the epidemiologist bends over his microscope in some rough mobile laboratory, or supervises the sanitation and waste disposal in a naval establishment, or orders mite-proofing of battle clothing, as he does these and many another unsung job to prevent the spread of disease, he is promoting the health not only of service people, but of civilians as well. But not all is excitement and adventure for the Navy epidemiologist. There's drudgery and grind as well. There's research, and more research to ferret out the causes of epidemics. And there are cultures, and specimens, and photo records for statistical analysis, either in the field or at the Navy's Medical Center, or at the Navy's Bureau of Medicine and Surgery, where the punch card machines grind hour after hour in their search for the key to some far-off mysterious malady, or the huge job of classifying cultures at the Navy's enteric pathogen laboratory. The Navy epidemiologist aims to leave no stone unturned. He digs into folk or tribal medicine for the elixir of some new medicine. He establishes a sanitary technique for the handling of milk. He orders a safe routine in the galley's preparation of leftover food. He traces an epidemic infection to the rat that carries bubonic plague, or to the ship's mascot whose flea-borne microbes have attacked the hand that fed him. Maximum health for maximum efficiency. That is the objective of Navy epidemiology unit's work. That is why, as the Surgeon General deploys his medical shock troops across the globe, that is why he says,
"We are successfully waging a war against the friends of our enemies, disability and disease. Preventive medicine, the Navy's instrument of attack, has proven a real destructive force for our enemies, in war or in peace."
This is Medicine in Action.